Hi everyone, welcome back to another session of 8x Pixel Expo 8th monthly webinar global webcast November series. So happening on 8th of every month as we convene over a united cause, that is our love for diving and the ocean. So for today's session, it is a sharing called Pixel 101, My Photographic Adventures Feed in Asia with Adam Hanlon and Sumer Verma. So a little bit about the two of them. Adam Hanlon is an underwater photographer captivated with the challenge and beauty of the underwater world and is passionate about its conservation. Apart from its diving qualification, he is the editor of WetPixel, the world's leading resource on all things underwater imaging. He also owns a successful dive school based near Lancaster, UK. Sumer Verma is the first Indian underwater photographer. He's also India's most experienced scuba diving instructor and has brought hundreds of people into the ocean through diving. Sumer is now the managing partner of Laka Dives India, which is also known as the first diving center in India. In fact, Laka Dives is where he started diving 22 years ago. Sumer is an active member of the Reef Watch Marine Conservation in India. Under this local NGO, Sumer aims to raise awareness and promote marine conservation amongst the youth of the country. So that's enough from me. I will now hand it over to Adam to moderate the session with Sumer as he shares his underwater photography feats with us. The floor is yours, Adam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kushi, and thank you for those kind words of introduction. I'd like to welcome Sumer. Hi, Sumer.
Hi, Adam. Thank you so much for having me.
Nice to meet you. I'm sorry that we're not meeting in person and going diving. It sounds like we'd have a lot of fun together underwater.
Absolutely.
So obviously the Masters of Underwater Imaging series, my goal really is to try and pick your brains and to find out a little bit about your inspiration and what inspires you to take the wonderful pictures that you take underwater. And I thought probably the best way of doing that would be to have a look at some of your pictures and discuss some of the creative process that went into creating them. And I know that you've prepared a wonderful portfolio of images. So I'll shut up talking a bit. Do you want to open up your first image, Sumer? Let's see how we. Wonderful.
Thank you. Let me try to do that.
Yeah, the wonders of Zoom. Excellent.
Okay, so do you see what you need to see, Adam?
I don't think it's the right image, Sumer. I've got just.
Do you have an island?
I have an island. I do have an island, yes, with a beautiful blue sea. But I'm not getting a full screen image.
Yes.
That's it. Perfect. Got
okay,
it,
wonderful. Phew, finally.
Yeah. This is a lovely image, Sumer. Where is it?
Yeah, I mean, I put my pictures together, Adam, in a little bit of a kind of timeline of how I started, where I started, what inspired me, and I'm showing you pictures along the way of that journey. So I did my open water course in the Lakshadweep Islands, which is in the Indian Ocean, in 1997. And this is a picture of the Lakshadweep Islands, because I think before even the underwater world blew me away, it's the islands which totally fascinated me, living on such pristine environments, ocean and sky. So this picture kind of epitomizes that feeling of awe and wonder we got when we first arrived in these islands from the city, and you know, the fantastic crystal clear the waters that they had. So this was in the Lakshadweep Islands, where then Laka Dives ran a dive school and I was part of from 97 all the way up to 2010. So I'm going to share a few more pictures from the Lakshadweep, and then we'll go on to the Andamans.
Maybe geographically, where is Lakshadweep? Where?
You know, they are actually just north of the Maldives Islands. So you have 33 islands of the Lakshadweep off the west coast of India, about 250 kilometers off Cochin on our west coast, right off into the Indian Ocean. And the southernmost island of the Lakshadweep is in fact very close to the northernmost island of Maldives. So it's almost the same archipelago of islands. The Maldives has many islands and has become very famous and popular for all the beauty it has. And the Lakshadweep is India's little hidden jewel secret, 33 coral islands, 11 inhabited, 22 uninhabited, and some wonderful crystal clear water, just like the Maldives, Seychelles, and other parts of the Indian Ocean. and beautiful marine life, beautiful drop-offs, fan coral at depths, abundant population of turtles, and a very, very pristine place, which really, I think, moved me, shaped my life and my career, because I became a diving instructor after that, and I've been doing that ever since for the last 20 years plus. And also, I was very, very tempted to, wow, get into underwater photography based on this next image I'm going to show you,
Fantastic.
which is here.
Yeah.
And so this is when we first put our faces into the water with our masks, for the first time, and looked down and was totally gobsmacked. It's very beautiful. It's very clear. The way the sun reflects on the white sand, it's mesmerizing, and this whole environment was absolutely beyond what I had, ever encountered, and truly magical. And being so clear and being able to see so clearly in it, I mean, automatically one's instinct was, we need to get a camera in here as soon as possible.
So it's interesting with the shot here. You've obviously deliberately chosen to emphasize the sunlight on the top of the water, and obviously then the sunlight and shadows on the bottom. Um, I think a lot of photographers have this idea, or try to create, and certainly I do, this idea of the sun coming through from the surface and relating to the surface. Do you find that putting the surface into your shots helps with that scenario? Is that something you consciously try to do, or is it?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
To be honest, Adam, I love the surface. The surface of the water from the underneath side is one of the most magical elements of underwater photography.
yeah.
The way the patterns happen, the reflections happen. If you're very close to the surface and very still, you get an absolute mirror image reflection also. And I think the
Yeah.
surface adds, especially if the surface is a little disturbed when the sun is pouring in, the way the sun dances when she pours in is even more beautiful. So I think surface is very important for me. I love to include, even if I'm at deep water, I like to have a tilt up and see some sunburst and all with whatever I'm composing in wide angle. And my favorite area is the 0 to 5 meter area. This kind of
Mm.
shallow space, natural sunlight, no need for strobes, and everything beautiful So I
Mm.
really like working in simple, shallow conditions a lot.
Mm. Mm. I know Alex and I were discussing the use of the snorkel, and I think for many photographers we get hung up on this idea of being divers, and oftentimes we should really think more like photographers, and in many ways, a snorkel is such a good tool because it removes the time constraints and it allows us to compose creatively, and obviously for shots like this where we're close to the surface, it's a perfect tool. We don't need scuba for this.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's far more creative. I mean, I feel there's far more creative ability near the surface. Underwater photography, to be honest, if you're fully underwater with scuba and your double strobe shooting things, it can get limiting. I mean, of course, every
Mm.
time is exciting because there are new opportunities and there's new conditions of the water. But ultimately, there's a lot of limitations in the way you can light. You're literally
Yeah,
providing a kind of soft front fill, and you learn the art of doing it well. So you're not
yeah,
bashing this foreground subject with light. You don't have any burnt out areas, and you try to manage it in a way so it looks like your exposure is coming from the sun and the blues, but you have that just amount of fill to create that foreground color to give you that pleasing image. But in the shallow, with the sun and the reflections and the way the natural colors of things, fish, coral, all look there without the flat artificial strobe lighting, I love that area a lot. I like
yeah,
to
yeah.
stay there a lot and do stuff
But
there. So
it's
these
very
were the
beautiful,
very
Sumit.
early. Thank you so much. So these were just the early inspirations for this view. Was the first inspiration, to be honest. It's a
Mm.
really blew my mind, and I just continued from there ever since. So
Wonderful.
then, I'm. This is another just a wonderful experience we had there, and this image also won me a award in this Our World Underwater competition. I think in 2016, this won Best of the Show.
Yeah,
So that was a great honor to win, because there's such amazing underwater photographers all over the world, including masters, like real masters, possibly like Alex and the others you've spoken to earlier. You know, I'm just a good talented amateur who did it for long enough and got a good collection of pictures. I don't feel like any real master of it, but I've certainly spent a lot of time doing it, enjoy it, and it's great to be among all these guys. But I've admired Alex's work for years, and many other people. So to win this competition was great. This is basically a baby hawksbill just born, and there were about a few of them which were caught on the on the eastern beach, and we were diving on the western side, and some guy, a fisherman, called and said there are turtles there. So of course I took my camera, rushed across, got into the water, and there were 5-6 of them. So I thought, okay, great, I'm going to get some great opportunities here. And before you know it, they all swam off so fast and in different directions. It was absolutely impossible to follow or track them. It was like, my God, this golden opportunity is going away in front of my eyes. But then I managed to just swim really fast and get really close with my dome pot with one and click away. And I think this is the best of what I got. So, I mean, it's a beautiful picture.
Yeah,
just born turtle. It's on its first swim. And yeah, again, the pleasing watercolors of the Lakshadweep. See again, that surface element is adding such a pleasing color texture to the whole frame.
And obviously the clouds in the split are fantastic. They really help make the image as well.
Yeah, I must clarify that this was entered in the category of creative. So I did take the creative license of adding that sky. The original image doesn't have it. And therefore, I didn't enter it in a pure category. I did it in the creative where you allowed this. And still, it was appreciated as a full, an image, an artwork, so to speak. And then that's why it won the best of show. So I must clarify that's not the real sky there. And I do this very rarely, only on a few which we're going to make the image work and for a particular category. But obviously, we all know the ethics of photography. We don't put the sky on and say it's an original.
Your creative license is you choose how your image wants to look, and that's absolutely the way it should be. I feel, I think it's a beautiful image, and you've created a beautiful image, and that's the important thing. How you achieve it is up to you. That's the creator's choice. It's lovely. It's very lovely.
Thank you. And I mean, this was why we stay motivated as underwater photographers, especially in the early days when we don't have any clue how we're going to make a living, how we're going to afford the cameras, and how things we are buying madly. Is that these photo competitions are there, and they were a great thing. So all the guys, including I know Wet Pixel, I've been a fan and got a lot of information from Wet Pixel in my early years as well. So I know these competitions meant a lot to me. I don't enter them now, I guess, just because I don't have any great images. But I would still, it's nothing that, and to win a prize, it was almost a $10,000 prize to go for 10 nights on a liveaboard to the Komodo Islands, which was such a fantastic prize to get. So, these are things which really motivate young underwater photographers. So I encourage all of you to keep it up, and, it's a great thrill to win something and, enjoy that. So that's really kind of the stuff which keeps you going along the way. So I'm going to move it along now. And basically, I'm showing you more turtles. Lakshadweep is full of turtles. It was always very challenging to get a beautiful picture of a turtle. And somehow this one appealed to me, how close he is, the quality of the blue water, no burning highlights, and gorgeous portrait of a turtle, I thought. So I always include that in my wide angle pictures. I really like it.
It's a very active pose, isn't it? With the flipper up high, and obviously it's obviously swimming. And obviously it's right on your own port. It's lovely. I think again, I think that maybe this is a good thing. Obviously, introducing the surface again gives this turtle a great deal of, it puts it right in the element. As a viewer, you can look at it and you can think, well, I know where this turtle is. And if you've ever seen a turtle underwater or possibly watched one on video, you know what it's doing. So it's a great depiction of the way turtles are. And I think that's very, very attractive. Yeah,
thanks a lot. I mean, I also like this foreground flipper of his, which is quite sharp because of the wide lens, so you really get led in with this amazing foreground flipper. And what also helped was a beautiful visibility that day. You can see the blue water is unique. All the blue water to the layman might be always the same, but the blue water in our backdrops of our images, and this looks, it's particular. It was a very still tide. There's no movement on the surface. It was very clear, and therefore it's almost mirror-like, grass-like feeling. And so it was a unique blue also, which added to the serenity of this guy in the foreground, which I liked. So the blue also keeps changing, from time to time. So this is one of my favorites. And I like turtles a lot. A lot of turtles in Lakshadweep. There were dives where you should see 20, 30 glads, green sea turtles on a single dive, hawksbills as well. So Lakshadweep is full of turtles, even from the baby ones I showed you to this guy. And then the next picture is a unique picture. It's a very rare picture, and it's not an expected kind of image. So obviously you can see it's the close up of the. It's not the same turtle, but there were a few resident turtles in the Lakshadweep in Bangaram, where I worked for many years as a diving instructor in the same dive site. So you go there regularly, and I won't say they become your friends, but although I used to love trying to make communion with animals, and without, of course, touching and harassing, needless to say, because I've been a diving instructor for many years and understand completely the ethics of it. But there were beautiful interactions I had with marine life. And I felt there was some commune. So this is a very old hawksbill turtle. I was with a macro lens looking for blennies and other kinds of things. And there was this huge turtle sitting. And obviously, you're never going to think, let's get a close up of a turtle's eye with a macro lens. But he was just sitting there. He did not move, and he allowed me really close. And then I got this like very unique picture, because I don't think if I tried again, I could get it,
Yeah. And I think one of the things that obviously, with your background and diving a lot, and diving in the same sites over and over, and this is something I think possibly for many people, they see the pictures that photographers like yourself produce, and they assume you've done 5 dives and you've come back with this portfolio of images. And I think we should always stress that this is the result of hundreds or thousands of dives, in the same place, doing the same thing, as you say, getting the subjects used to what you're doing, and that allows you the opportunities to create pictures like this. This is something. It's a single image, but it's born on the back of hundreds or thousands of dives to achieve it. And this is something I think that we often lose sight of, is that the investment in time and effort that you need to create pictures like this. And that's certainly, I think we live in a sort of fast food culture where everyone wants everything now, and that doesn't really suit the underwater photographer. I think that's a really good example of that.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, ultimately, whenever I do teach underwater photography courses, I mean, I first tell them, first, of course, listen, you master diving first, okay? Because without a great mastery of diving, buoyancy, finning technique, you are going to do more damage than good, because you are going to mess up the environment trying to get your picture. And then second thing is, obviously, relax. It's a passion, it's a hobby, enjoy it. The point is, you can't get so head up. I mean, I used to tell them the favorite part of a day when I was learning my art of going out and diving every day was, you go out, take your pictures, come back, download your pictures. You might find 3 or 4 or 5, which then you'll edit and put into your so-called favorites folder, and you build a portfolio. Yes, absolutely, over time, and even if you come up with one great picture per dive, you should be happy. So yes, you can't chase things in the water, either a result, either a goal, either a marine animal. It's a hobby, it's a passion, it's very challenging art form. If you're lucky enough to find it as a hobby and passion, like many of us have, it's allowed us to channel so much energy into it. I mean, sometimes I look at my Pelican case and I think I've been to, Galapagos twice, Raja Ampat thrice, and halfway around the world with this damn thing paying extra luggage to take pictures of fish. I mean, was I crazy? Am I crazy? Because you did it for so many years without thinking. And now, 20 years later, you look back and think, wow, you must have been really into it to do it, So yes, it all takes time. It's a very absorbing, challenging, and rewarding hobby, and it can become a wonderful profession as well. So for those who want to do it, love it, but just go slow. Don't be hard on yourself, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So we're moving along now. This is something unique. I've done more than 7,000 dives over the last 25 years. The last 20 of them were quite active as a diving instructor, and then travel trips and all. I've never seen mating white-tip reef sharks, and this was a one-off occasion in, again, the Lakshadweep Island, and I didn't even know what this behavior was when it happened. And this was, in fact, such an old image. It was shot with my first Nikon D70 Ikilite housing way back in 2000 and something, and but it's something which I still show, because I was very lucky. It happened for literally a split second. These sharks were moving really fast. They came in front of my lens. I just took one picture, and they got a very beautiful frame of all these guys. There are actually 4 sharks in this frame, white tips all over each other, and very unique for where I've dived in the Indian Ocean. Never seen this kind of a sighting. And I really liked this image. From my early days, it was one of the ones I said, wow, this is wonderful.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's again, it's a moment in time, isn't it? It's a classic behavior shot, but it's beautifully shot. Again, hint to the surface. It's got all your trademarks in it, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful, that we get obsessed with technology, but actually sometimes it's just having a camera in the right place at the right time. It's not about
Yeah.
the technical stuff. It's about being there. Yeah, yeah, lovely.
No, absolutely. Another thing, just to add for other young photographers, this whole digital era has made us much more, I mean, much less discerning on how many times we click a picture. So, I mean, I know that if a turtle is coming to you and you're going to go and shoot 50 pictures and hope for one, that is a way which can work. But it's really better to look through the eyepiece and wait for a moment and just capture that. Maybe take a few more around it because you have maybe 500 images possibly to take rather than just 36 like a film roll. But I really recommend not overshooting and hoping. Looking and trusting a moment and capturing is a better way to get result, I feel,
Yeah,
always.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we're moving along destinations. We are moving from the Lakshadweep Islands to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands is a much larger chain of volcanic islands on our east coast, almost 1,800 kilometers off Chennai, which is our east coast city, which you'd fly from. So way further out at sea than the Lakshadweep is to the west coast, much closer to Thailand, four-fifths away from India and one-fifth away from Thailand in terms of its
Right.
location. A wonderful stretch of 500 islands, volcanic, one active volcano called Barren Island, which is very difficult to get to, and a true mecca on the diving Southeast Asia diving thing for the future. Again, not accessible now. For a couple of years, there were some Thai liverboards which did it, and then an Indian liverboard which did it for a while, which no longer is flying. So Barren Island is again going to remain an enigma. I'm going to share some pictures from Barren. Right now, the dive school is also in the Andamans. We have all our diving and living, and most of my time is now spent in my new base in the Andamans. I couldn't be happier. It's a wonderful place. I'm going to share some pictures. So this just shows you
Beautiful.
what the Andamans can be. Now, all these pictures are around Barren Island. Barren Island is a further 60 nautical miles due east of the rest of the Andaman Islands. One single
Right.
solitary, active, smoking volcano with black mountainous and then black sand in the water instead of white sand. So totally, I mean, again, a totally unreal experience. And because it's so isolated, crystal clear water. And this is just one expression of Barren Island. Shallow water, coral reefs going from the extreme shallow to the bottom. You can see a lot of life over here, hard coral life, and beautiful visibility.
Mm.
So this is a lovely image for me. This is an assignment
Mm.
for a magazine to show that
Yeah, it's
area.
beautiful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, it looks like an amazing place, Sumaya, and beautifully captured. Lovely.
Oh, it is very beautiful. Yeah. So this image is lovely. I like this kind of when the sunlight and the backlight is doing so much
Mm.
drama in the water, giving so many different streaks and adding value. And it's obviously natural light, the way it's lighting up the reef on the bottom right of the frame. The girl is doing something nice. A very
Mm.
nice, inspiring, ocean-based image, I think.
Yes, I quite agree. Yeah, yeah.
And so this is unfortunately this image is not the right size, but this is showing more of the Andaman Islands now. This is the typical marine life of Andaman Islands. It's much more of the soft coral, barrel sponges kind of
Mm.
life, and then fish which go around that, jacks, barracudas, and of course all the small stuff, chrome, shrimp, plenty
Antheus.
of
Yeah.
anemone. Very beautiful area. I would say comparable maybe to Similan Islands a bit. That's the kind of vibe of the Andaman Islands, a very pristine place. And this is the kind of diving we do there now, a lot of courses. I find these barrel sponges quite fascinating.
Mm.
And, it's always beautiful to dive on live coral, soft coral, things like that.
Mm.
This just shows the opposite side of it, where you got, I mean, amazing hard coral. I've never seen hard coral like this
Yeah, it's
except
beautiful.
for
Yeah.
Indonesia, Raja Ampat. So this is not what you see in India. Lakshadweep has been completely bleached since 2010 onwards, 2010 El Nino, 2000 and etc. etc. It's been
Right.
not 2010. It started 1998 El Nino. So 97 I dived on a pristine reef. 98 El Nino shattered it. Since then it's only recovering, shattering, recovering, shattering. So none of this exists now. Barren Island was an eye opener. That my God, look at the abundant life coral over there, very
Mm.
healthy, not bleached. So just
It's
sharing
beautiful.
glimpses to tempt all of you to come and dive with us there. This is the third kind of feature of Barren Island. Amazing drop-offs. This drop-off is going down to at least 3,000 meters.
Yeah, fantastic.
Floating in blue with this incredible depth under you and this massive, gigantic boulders of volcanic rock. So everything is oversized in a way. So a truly unique area. I was very keen to show some of these pictures, not more because they're the best underwater pictures, but they depict where I am now and where I'd like to, to talk about more to the audience, because I guess these areas are not so experienced.
So Sumer, I think the possibly we should. You've got very, very blue water here. So the water. So this is now we're on the east side of India. But where's the closest other islands to where you are here?
If you see the Andaman Islands, there are 500 islands ranging a large area of north to south kilometer. And from north, it's basically North Andaman, Middle Andaman, and South Andaman. And from North Andaman, Burma is very close.
Yeah.
And South Andaman, from south, deep south, then, you go to the Nicobar Islands. Below that, there's really nothing.
Nicobar.
And basically, you're in the Burma and then Thailand. So it's basically overnight boat journey from Phuket to get to us. And as I said, Barren is this unique little gem, 60 nautical miles off just one spot on the map, just on its own, actively smoking in the night. Unbelievable and so difficult to get to. So therefore, I think it's a place which many divers would love to go to in the future once we can really get you access there.
And the pictures are very beautiful, Sumer. I think, as is sometimes the way with these things, we're running out of time. I'm sorry, it's my fault.
Sure.
I love talking to photographers, and so we get carried away. But that may be a good place. And if we can at some point book you again for another session where we can look at some more of your wonderful images.
Now that I figured out my technicalities.
We're good to go, Smith. So I'd love to get you back and do it again. I don't want to put you on the spot, but one of the things that I always try and ask my guests on this slot is scroll back 25 years. If you could look at yourself and say, obviously with the benefit of your experience now, what would be the one piece of advice? And you have to choose one, and I know that's unfair, but then if you could choose one piece of advice to give yourself starting out, what would that advice be?
That's a very interesting question. I think the one piece of advice would be don't get disheartened and stick with it. And I think that's what I did. And that's why I find myself here. But to dream a dream of becoming an underwater photographer, more than just a hobby, but trying to make it into a vocation, profession, therefore earning a living off it, is a dream which takes a long time to manifest and materialize. And many times along the way, as I said, when you travel with this expensive equipment all over the world and just take pictures, you quite question at times, what is it all about and what are you doing it for? Especially if you're trying to, succeed in it as a living, as a professional.
Absolutely.
If it's just a hobby, nothing. So I think I did that right. I was very patient. I stuck with it. I read a lot from Wet Pixel, from many other people. I learned the basics about photography, and I just stayed true. I loved it, so it was easy. So I think that would be it. Just if you find something you're passionate about and love it, then do it 100% all in, and you will find your way through. I think that's what I would.
I think that's wonderful advice, and I think it is something that you just need to keep going. Don't give up. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I ask you to stop sharing your screen then, please?
Yes, of course.
That's absolutely wonderful.
There we go.
Perfect. And with a bit of luck, I think Kushi should be back in. She's not. There she is.
Yes,
Hi,
I'm
Kushi.
here. Hi, guys.
Hi, wonderful.
Hi.
All right. So thank you so much for such an inspiring session, Sumer, and moderated by Adam Hanlon. Really beautiful images. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time as well. So if the viewers have any questions for them, feel free to drop them on our Facebook page and we will try our best to answer them. Stay tuned for the next session happening shortly in conversation with David Strike to Hidden Depths along with Ivan Kovacs. Thank you and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Adam.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Samir. Nice to meet you. Bye.
Pleasure. Bye. Bye.